Again, reading from Prophets and Kings. Among those whose life experience have been shaped beyond recall by the fatal apostasy of Manasseh was his own son, who came to the throne at the age of 22. Of King Amon, it is written, he walked in all the way that his father walked in, and served the idols that his father served, and worshipped them. And he forsook the Lord God of his fathers. 2 Kings 22. He humbled not himself before the Lord as Manasseh his father had humbled himself, but Amon trespassed more and more. The wicked king was not permitted to reign long. In the midst of his daring impiety, only 2 years from the time he ascended the throne, he was slain in the palace by his own servants. And the people of the land made Josiah his son king in his stead. 2 Chronicles 33, 23, 25. With the accession of Josiah to the throne, where he was to rule for 31 years, those who had maintained the purity of their faith began to hope that the downward course of the kingdom was checked. For the new king, though only 8 years old, feared God, and from the very beginning he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, and walked in all the way of David his father, and turned not aside to the right hand or to the left. 2 Kings 22:2. How cool is it to become king that young? I don't know. Probably cool. Born of a wicked king, beset with temptations to follow in his father's steps, and with few counselors to encourage him in the right way, Josiah nevertheless was true to the God of Israel. Warned by the errors of past generations, he chose to do right instead of descending to the low level of sin and degradation to which his father and his grandfather had fallen. He turned not aside to the right hand or to the left. As one who was to occupy a position of trust, he resolved to obey the instruction that had been given for the guidance of Israel's rulers, and his obedience made it possible for God to use him as a vessel unto honor. At the time Josiah began to rule, and for many years before, the true-hearted in Judah were questioning whether God's promises to ancient Israel could ever be fulfilled. From a human point of view, the divine purpose for the chosen nation seemed almost impossible of accomplishment. The apostasy of former centuries had gathered strength. With the passing years, 10 of the tribes had been scattered among the heathen. Only the tribes of Judah and Benjamin remained, and even these now seemed on the verge of moral and national ruin. The prophets had begun to foretell the utter destruction of their fair city, where stood the temple built by Solomon, and where all their earthly hopes of national greatness had centered. Could it be that God was about to turn aside from his avowed purpose of bringing deliverance to those who should put their trust in him? In the face of the long continued persecution of the righteous and of the apparent prosperity of the wicked, could those who had remained true to God hope for better days? These anxious questionings were voiced by the prophet Habakkuk. Viewing the situation of the faithful in his day, he expressed the burden of his heart in the inquiry, O Lord, how long shall I cry, and thou wilt not hear? Even cry out unto thee of violence, and thou wilt not save. Why dost thou show me iniquity, and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that rise up strife and contention. Therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous. Therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. Habakkuk 1, 2 through 4. God answered the cry of his loyal children through his chosen mouthpiece. He revealed his determination to bring chastisement upon the nation that had turned from him to serve the gods of the heathen. Within the lifetime of some who were even then making inquiry regarding the future, he would miraculously shape the affairs of the ruling nations of earth. And bring the Babylonians into ascendancy. These Chaldeans, terrible and dreadful, were to fall suddenly upon the land of Judah as a divinely appointed scourge. Verse 7. The Chaldeans, they were the ones who went by and took some of Job's things way back when. The princes of Judah and the fairest of the people were to be carried captive to Babylon. The Judean cities and villages and the cultivated fields were to be laid waste. Nothing was to be spared. Confident that even in this terrible judgment, the purpose of God for his people would in some way be fulfilled, Habakkuk bowed in submission to the revealed will of Jehovah. Art thou not from everlasting, O Lord my God, and mine Holy One? He exclaimed, and then his faith reaching out beyond the forbidding prospect of the immediate future and laying fast hold on the precious promises that reveal God's love for his trusting children, the prophet added, we shall not die, verse 12. With this declaration of faith, he rested his case and that of every believing Israelite in the hands of a compassionate God. This was not Habakkuk's only experience in the exercise of strong faith. On one occasion, when meditating concerning the future, he said, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower and will watch to see what he will say unto me. Graciously, the Lord answered him, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. The just shall live by faith. Habakkuk 2, 1 through 4.